Hello everyone and welcome back to our YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to learn chapter 8 of class 6 science NCERT textbook, that is the body movements. तो इस चैप्टर में हम मूवमेंट्स के बारे में पढ़ेंगे, दैट इज द मूवमेंट इन द ह्यूमन बीइंग्स एंड मूवमेंट इन द वेरियस एनिमल्स. आइए इस वीडियो को स्टार्ट करते हैं एंड लेट अस हैव द लुक एट द कंटेंट्स. वी विल बिगिन विद अ ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन. After that, we will look into the definition of movement. Then we will study what is locomotion and how is it different from the movement. Then we will study about the joints and the types of joints. After that, we will move on to the human skeletal system and its various parts. Lastly, we will study about the gait, that is the movement pattern in the various animals. So let's begin. To perform daily activities, we need to move our body parts as well as that of the whole body. तो दिन भर में हम काफ़ी सारी एक्टिविटीज़ करते हैं जैसे कि रीडिंग, राइटिंग, ईटिंग. तो इन सभी एक्टिविटीज़ को करने के लिए वी जस्ट मूव आवर बॉडी पार्ट्स. फॉर एग्जांपल, जब हम रीडिंग करते हैं तो वी मूव आवर आइज ओवर द रिटन टेक्स्ट, लेकिन जब हम राइटिंग करते हैं तो वी मूव आवर हैंड. और जब हम खाना खाते हैं टू पिक अप द फूड फ्रॉम द प्लेट एंड टू पुट इट इनटू द माउथ वी यूज आवर हैंड. But there are various other activities in which we need to move our whole body. For example, when you go to school, you need to walk from the home to your school, so which involves the movement of various body parts as well as that of the whole body. Similarly, skipping, dancing, walking, running, these also involves the movement of body parts as well as that of the whole body. Now, what is movement? Movement होता क्या है? It is the ability of the organism to move its body parts without the change in the position of an organism. तो movement में body parts move करते हैं लेकिन entire body जो होती है वो move नहीं करती. So here are the examples of so many movement that takes place in our body while we remain seated at one place. So one of such movement is the blinking of our eyes. When we blink our eyes, our eyelids, they move in the upward and the downward direction. Then during the blood circulation, our heart beats and it pumps the blood from the heart and send it to the various parts of the body. So this is also an example of movement. Then during breathing, we can observe the movement in our chest region. That is when we inhale the air, that is when we take the air inside, our chest, it moves in the outward direction, that is it expands. But when we exhale the air outside the body, that time chest shows the inward movement. Similarly, during the digestion of food, food moves from the mouth through the food pipe, it goes into the stomach, and then from the stomach it moves into the small intestine, then goes into the large intestine, and finally it's get excreted out of the body. So all these are the examples of movements. Now what is locomotion? Locomotion क्या होता है? It is the ability of organism to move its entire body from one place to another is called as locomotion. तो मूवमेंट में हमने पढ़ा था कि केवल बॉडी पार्ट्स मूव करते हैं लेकिन एंटायर बॉडी नहीं मूव करती. बट लोकोमोशन में बॉडी पार्ट्स तो मूव करते ही हैं लेकिन साथ साथ एंटायर बॉडी भी मूव करती है एक जगह से दूसरी जगह. सो हियर आर द वेरियस एग्जांपल्स: रनिंग, जंपिंग, स्किपिंग, स्विमिंग. दीज आर द एग्जांपल्स ऑफ वेरियस टाइप्स ऑफ लोकोमोशन इन द ह्यूमन बीइंग्स because they involves the movement of the body parts as well as that of the entire body. And then flying of a bird, creeping of an earthworm, slithering of the snakes, these are the examples of various types of locomotion in the respective animal. So with this, I hope आपको difference clear हुआ होगा between the movement and locomotion. Now let us move on to the joints. Joints क्या होते हैं? It is the place in our body where two or more bones meet. ये वो जगहें होती है हमारी बॉडी की जहाँ पर दो या दो से ज़्यादा बोन्स आपस में जाके मिलती हैं. and all the movements of the body are possible because of the joints in the body. जितनी भी movement होती है हमारी body में, they are possible because of the joint. अगर joint नहीं होंगे तो movements भी possible नहीं हो पाएंगी. Now let us read about the types of joint. कितने तरह के joints होते हैं? There are 4 types of joints. First of all, it is the ball and socket joint. Then second is the pivotal joint. Third one is the hinge joint, and fourth one is the fixed joint. We will read about all these joints in the details. Now the first joint is the ball and socket joint. Ball and socket joint में क्या होता है? End of one bone, it is round in shape, and end of the another bone, it is in the form of a cavity, that is the hollow space. So round end of one bone, it fits into the hollow space, that is the cavity of another bone. So wherever ball and socket joint is present, it allows the highest degree of movement, that is the movement in 360 degree, which means the movement in all the direction. Now ball and socket joint, they are found in the shoulder joint, that is this one, which is depicted here in the green color. It is the joint formed between the shoulder bone and the upper arm bone. You must have noticed when we are balling, at that time we are able to rotate our arm in the 360 degree because of the presence of the ball and socket joint in the shoulder joint. Then ball and socket joint, it is also present in the hip joint, that is the joint which is made by the pelvic bone and the thigh bone. This is the ball and socket joint of the hip joint. Moving on to the next joint, that is the pivotal joint. Pivotal joint में क्या होता है? One of the bone, it has cylindrical shape, and other bone, it is a ring shaped bone. So this cylindrical bone, it rotates in this ring type bone. Now pivotal joint, it is the joint present between the skull and the neck, that is this part. So due to the presence of pivotal joint, we are able to bend our head in the forward and the backward direction. Then we can turn our head right and left, but it does not allow the rotation of head in the 360 degrees. Now next joint is the hinge joint. Why this joint is known as hinge joint? Because the functioning of hinge joint is, it resembles to the working of the hinges on the door. What does hinges do? They allow the door to move only in one direction, that is the forward and the backward direction. So wherever the hinge joints are present in our body, they also allows the movement only in one direction, that is the back and forth direction. Now hinge joints, they are found in the elbow joint, that is the joint formed by the upper arm bone and the lower arm bone. So due to the presence of hinge joint in the elbow joint, we can bend our arms only in the forward direction but not in the backward direction. Similarly, hinge joints, they are also present in the knee joint, which is formed by the thigh bone and the lower leg bone. So due to the presence of hinge joint at the knee joint, we can bend our legs only in the backward direction but not in the forward direction. Then hinge joint, they are also present between the skull and the lower jawbone, due to which we can move our lower jaw in the upward and the downward direction. Then hinge joints, they are also found in the joints of the fingers, due to which we are able to bend our fingers in the forward direction. Now moving on to the fixed joint, as the name suggests, the fixed joints, they are the immovable joints, means bones that are joined together by the fixed joint, they cannot move at all. No movement is possible between them. So fixed joint, these are found between the bones of the skull. Then these are also found in the joint between the skull and the upper jaw. Then this is the pelvis, which is a basin shaped structure. It is made up of various bones which are known as the hip bones. All of these hip bones, they are joined to each other with the help of the fixed joints. Now moving on to the human skeletal system. This is the human skeleton. It is the bony framework of the body. Matlab, it is made up of bone and it is the framework of body, means it gives shape to our body. The next function of the human skeleton is that it protects the delicate organs of the body. There are so many delicate organs present inside the body. For example, in the chest region are present heart, lungs, then liver is there. In this area we have stomach. Then in the pelvis area we have small intestine, large intestine, reproductive organs are there. So the function of the skeleton is to protect all the delicate organs of the body. Then they also helps in the body movements. Body movements में भी help करते हैं. Then it is made up of, the skeleton is made up of bones, cartilages and the joints. So these points where two or more bones are meeting, these are the joints in our body. Now let us study various parts of the human skeleton. So first one is the skull. It is present at the top of the skeleton. Now if we view the skull in the enlarged view, it looks like this. The skull, it is further made up of various bones that are joined to each other with the help of the fixed joint, as a result of which they forms a strong case. Inside the skull is present the brain. So the function of the skull is to protect the brain present inside it. Now the next part is the backbone. Backbone, it is present on the back side of the body, and this is the enlarged view of the backbone. The shape of backbone, it is long, hollow, rod-like structure. As it is hollow, so it has spinal cord inside it. Now if you observe the backbone carefully, you can find that backbone, it is further made up of small bones which are known as vertebrae, and in the human backbone total 33 vertebrae are present. Now next part are the ribs. These are present in the chest region, that is in this region. This is the enlarged view of the ribs. So the shape of the ribs are, they are curved bones. So these curved bones in the front of the body, one of their end, it meets at the chest bone which is known as the sternum, and at the back side of the body, the other end of the ribs, it get attached to the backbone, as a result of which they form a bony cage like structure which is known as the rib cage. So this is the rib cage. If you see on the right side of the rib cage, there are present 12 ribs, and on the left side also there are present 12 ribs. So in total there are present 24 ribs in the human skeleton, or in other words you can say that there are present 12 pairs of ribs. Now moving on to the function of rib cage. The rib cage, it protects the delicate organ which are present in the chest region, that is the heart, lungs and the liver. Now next part is the shoulder bone. These shoulder bones, they are also present on the back side of the body where we have shoulders, and there are total 2 shoulder bones in our body. If you view the shoulder bone in the enlarged view, the shape of the shoulder bone, it is triangular in shape. Then this shoulder bone, it is attached to the upper bone with the help of ball and socket joint. So the shoulder bones, they help in the movement of arms. Then next part is the hip bone. Another name of the hip bone, it is the pelvic bone, which is found in this region, that is below the stomach, and it acts as a link between the upper part of the body and the lower part of the body. And this is the enlarged view of the pelvis, which is a basin shaped structure. Now coming to the function of the hip bone is that it allows us to sit. Then it also allows us the movement of thighs, because there is present ball and socket joint between the pelvic bone and the thigh bone. Then it also protects the delicate organs present in this region. So what are the delicate organs which are present in this region are? These are the small intestine, large intestine and the reproductive organs. Now bones of the hand. Hand, it is made up of 3 parts. If we start in this direction, so this part is the wrist, middle portion is the palm and the topmost portion is the fingers. So wrist, it is made up of 8 small bones which are shown in this picture with the orange color, and these bones are known as carpals. इनको carpals कहते हैं. Then palm, it has 5 long bones which are shown in the green color, and we say them metacarpals. इनको metacarpals कहते हैं. Then fingers have phalanges. So each of the four finger, they have 3 phalanges which are shown in the color purple, blue and yellow. So each of the 4 finger, they have 3 phalanges, but thumb have only 2 phalanges. Now how do we know the shape of different bones? Different bones की हमें shape का कैसे पता चलता है? One of the simplest method is by touching and feeling the shape. But in order to get the accurate shape, we take the X-ray image of that bone. So in the X-ray image, we can see the shape of the bone, and also we can count the number of bones in our body. So in total, we have 206 bones in the human body. Now the next component of the skeletal system are the cartilages. Cartilages, these are the flexible part of skeleton, which means they are not as hard as bones. So cartilages, they are found in the upper part, that is in this part of the ear. Then they also found at the tip of the nose. Then we have studied about the backbone, that it is further made up of small bones called as vertebrae. So cartilages, they are found in between the vertebrae. So in this picture, this blue color lines shows the presence of cartilages in between the vertebrae. Then these are also found at the end of the bones, where the 2 bones meet at the joint. So this is the joint where 2 bone ends are meeting each other. So this green color is the cartilages. So they allow the frictionless movement of the bones at the joint. Now moving on to the muscles. Muscles क्या होते हैं? These are the fibrous tissues attached to the bone. ये fibrous tissue होते हैं जो कि bone से attached होते हैं. फंक्शन क्या होता है? मसल्स अलाउज द मूवमेंट ऑफ वेरियस बॉडी पार्ट्स जैसे कि हेड, आर्म्स, लेग्स एंड एक्सेट्रा. नाउ टू मूव अ पर्टिकुलर बोन, 2 muscles are required, which means muscle works in a pair. When one muscle contracts, the other muscle will relax. Contracts means it shorten and relax means it lengthens in the size. So when the muscle will contract, it will pull the bone in that direction. Now we will try to understand the working of muscles in a pair with the help of the example of bending and stretching of the arms. Now stretching and bending of the arms. अगर हम अपनी अपर आर्म को देखें तो उसमें 2 मसल्स प्रेजेंट होती है. जो ऊपर की साइड होती है उसे हम बाइसेप्स कहते हैं और जो नीचे की साइड होती है वो ट्राइसेप्स होती है. तो जब हमें बेंड करना है अपने आर्म को तो उस टाइम क्या होता है, बाइसेप्स जो होती है वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर जाती है, मतलब छोटी हो जाती है साइज में, और एट द सेम टाइम ट्राइसेप्स क्या हो जाएगी, रिलैक्स हो जाएगी, मतलब थोड़ी सी लंबी हो जाएगी साइज में. तो जब बाइसेप्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करेंगे तो व्हाट दे विल डू इज दे विल पुल दीज लोअर आर्म बोन्स इन द फॉरवर्ड डायरेक्शन, जिसकी वजह से क्या हो जाएगा, आर्म्स बेंड हो जाएंगी. लेकिन अगर हमें अपनी आर्म्स को स्ट्रेच करना है तो क्या होगा, इसका बिल्कुल ऑपोजिट होगा. दैट इज दिस टाइम बाइसेप्स विल रिलैक्स, इट विल lengthen in the size, then triceps will contract, और triceps क्या करेंगे, contract हो जाएंगे, छोटे हो जाएंगे, as a result of which they will push the lower arm bone in this direction and stretching of the arm will take place. So I hope we are clear with the working of muscles in a pair. Now let us move on to the last part of this chapter, that is the movement in animal. So what do we observe? We observe different patterns of movement in animals. Some animals moves by walking, some animals they creep, some moves by flying, some moves by swimming in the water. So this difference in the movement is basically due to the difference in their skeletal structure. Now first is earthworm. Before studying the movement in the earthworm, let us have the overview of the body structure of the earthworm. So this is the front part which has the head, and this is the rear part of the body of earthworm which is the tail. Then the lower side of the body, it has fine hair like structures which are known as the bristles. The function of bristles is to help the earthworm to fix the body to the ground. Now if we observe the body of the earthworm, it does not have any bone, कोई भी bone नहीं होती. The body is made up of rings, and to these rings are attached the muscles. Then contraction and relaxation of these muscles helps the earthworm to move. Now, how does the earthworm move? In order to understand the movement in earthworm, we will follow this diagram. So this is the front part of the body of the earthworm, which has the head. This is the rear part, which has the tail. Now if earthworm has to make the forward move, what it will do is, first it will fix the rear part to the ground and it will extend its front part. Now when it has extended its front part, it will fix the front part to the ground and it will release the rear part. After releasing the rear part, what will happen? Body will shorten and it will pull the rear part in the forward direction. As a result of which, earthworm will make a forward move by a small distance, and this is how earthworm moves. Now next is snail. First, try to understand its body structure. Its body consists of the head. There is a shell and a foot. Head, it has 2 tentacles. Then shell, it is the outer skeleton of the snail. It has no role in the movement of snail. It has to be dragged along when the snail is moving. Then this large flat dish shaped organ that is present close to the ground is the foot of the snail. The foot of the snail, it is made up of strong muscles, and snail is able to move with the help of this foot. Now next is the cockroach. Cockroach, its body has the outer hard covering which is known as the exoskeleton. Then it has 3 pairs of legs and 2 pairs of wings. So legs helps the cockroach in walking and wings helps the cockroach in flying. So as a result, cockroach, it can walk, it can climb and it can fly in the air. So how cockroach is able to move its leg and the wings? Because there are attached different set of muscles to the wings and legs. So contraction and relaxation of these muscles helps the cockroach to move its legs and the wings. Now next are the birds. Birds, they can walk, they can fly, and some birds like ducks and swan, they can swim in the water. वो swim भी कर सकते हैं. So how walking is possible? Birds can walk with the help of the hind limbs. These are the hind limbs. And they can fly because their body has developed various adaptation. One of the most important adaptation is that their bones are hollow. उनकी जो bones होती है वो अंदर से hollow होती है, as a result of which their body is light and which makes their body well suited for the flying. Then second adaptation is that their 4 limbs, they are modified as wings होते हैं. Then they have strong shoulder bones, and the breastbone, it holds the flight muscles which helps the bird to move its wings in the upward and the downward direction. Now next is the fish. Fish, they move by swimming in the water. So in order to swim, they also have developed various adaptation. One of the most important adaptation is that they have the streamlined body. Streamlined body का मतलब होता है कि जो front और rear part होता है, they tapers and the middle portion जो होता है वो उसका thick होता है. तो streamlined body होने से क्या होता है कि it allows the water to flow easily around the fish. Water जो होता है वो easily flow कर पाता है फिश के चारों तरफ, जिसकी वजह से उसको लीस्ट रेजिस्टेंट को फेस करना पड़ता है वाटर से. Then body of the fish, it also has the muscles on both of its sides, जिसकी वजह से it can move its tail. Then there are present the flat projections जिनको हम fins भी कहते हैं. So these fins, they helps the fish in steering, balancing, stopping in the water. Then there is present fin in the tail also, which helps the fish to move in the forward direction. Now let us understand how does fish moves in the water. तो ड्यूरिंग मूवमेंट क्या होगा, फिश की जो बॉडी होगी वो एक कर्व बना लेगी. किस तरीके से कि फ्रंट पार्ट जो होगा वो एक तरफ होगा और जो टेल पार्ट होगा इट विल स्विंग इन द ऑपोजिट साइड. फिर क्विकली क्या होगा कि बॉडी एंड टेल दे विल कर्व इन द ऑपोजिट साइड. हियर फ्रंट वाज पॉइंटिंग टुवर्ड्स द लेफ्ट साइड एंड टेल वाज स्विंगिंग इन द राइट साइड. बट दिस टाइम द फ्रंट पार्ट इट इज कर्विंग टुवर्ड्स द राइट साइड एंड टेल इज स्विंगिंग टुवर्ड्स द लेफ्ट साइड. सो दिस कर्विंग of the body on either side gives the body of a fish a jerk, and jerk pushes the body of the fish in the forward direction. So these series of the jerks makes the fish swim in the water. Now let us understand the movement in the snake. So body of a snake, it has a long backbone and it has thin muscles. These muscles are attached to each other as well as to the backbone, ribs and the skin. Now how does snake move? So while moving, snake body it curves into many loops. इस तरीके से loops में convert हो जाती है. Now each of the loop it gives the body a forward push. फॉरवर्ड डायरेक्शन में पुश करता है. अब हमें पता है कि जो स्नेक की बॉडी होती है वो काफ़ी लंबी होती है, तो उसकी बॉडी में काफ़ी सारे लूप्स बन जाते हैं. काफ़ी सारे लूप्स बनने की वजह से वो क्या करता है, स्नेक को हेल्प करता है मूव फॉरवर्ड वेरी फास्ट बट नॉट इन अ straight line. So this is how the snake moves. So with this we complete this chapter. I hope आपको समझ आया होगा. If you have any doubt related to this chapter, you can write down in the comment section below. लेकिन अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छी लगी हो तो प्लीज़ आप इसको लाइक करें, शेयर करें, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें. Thanks for watching.